Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins and this is News Now. We continue to follow breaking news. A 4.1 magnitude earthquake hitting Tennessee, but it rattled the southeast. Alex Forbes, we are getting so many calls into our newsroom right now. A lot of questions, a lot of comments. Everyone, it seems like, felt this. If you were in North Georgia or Tennessee or even South Carolina, North Carolina, it's been felt everywhere. Kim from Canton, though, is wondering, are there more coming?
Yeah, so great question when it comes to earthquakes, right? You get the first one and then it's like, oh, well, are we done? Well, it's impossible to know for sure. Let me say that first and foremost. However, typically whenever we see an earthquake of this magnitude in this region of the world, we do not see aftershocks at a magnitude larger than this. So is an aftershock of a 1 point something possible? Yes. Is an aftershock of a 2 point something possible? Much less likely than a 1 something, but still possible nonetheless. Okay, here's what happened at 9:04 this morning, just south of Knoxville, Tennessee. This was about 30 miles south of Knoxville, about 125 miles north of Atlanta, really close to the city of Tallahassee, Tennessee. That is where the 4.1 earthquake happened. It was initially reported as a 3.5, upgraded to a 4.1 shortly after, and we felt it here in the metro, no doubt. As Elizabeth alluded to, our phones were ringing off the hook in the newsroom. Facebook comments lit up, Twitter comments, Instagram comments. And as we take a look at the shake map now, you are going to see a line that matches up quite nicely with the calls that we're getting. All right, so here's the center of your earthquake. There's Knoxville, Tennessee. Here's Interstate 75 going down to Chattanooga. All right, so of course, closest to the center is where it was most intense. So we'll say from Knoxville down to, say, the Murphy, North Carolina area. So that area right in there was where it was the most intense. But generally speaking, following this blue line right here, which does come through Cherokee County, North Fulton, Gwinnett, and then up towards the Greenville area, is where a noticeable boom and noticeable shaking happened, right? So people in Gainesville felt it, people in Cumming, people in Canton, people in Dalton, over towards Blue Ridge, over towards Clayton, over towards Helen, all felt it at a pretty good clip. Now, if you were in those spots in this area, as I mentioned, you felt it, but it was not quite as strong down to the south. I was just talking to Tanya, who works over in our assignment desk. We've gotten calls as far south as Peachtree City. So what you felt in Peachtree City is not equivalent to what you felt in Canton or in Cumming or in Alpharetta. And what you felt in those areas, Cherokee, Forsyth, Hall counties, was not equivalent to what you felt up along the Tennessee-North Carolina state line. So there you have it, a magnitude 4.1 earthquake. Elizabeth, it's very rare that we see these, at least in Tennessee and North Carolina, but nonetheless, it happened this morning. And to answer that question about aftershocks, it's possible, but it would likely be at a lower magnitude of what we saw now, and it would be an exponential scale, right? So a 0.5 or a 1.0 magnitude earthquake would be much more likely than, say, a 2.5 or a 3 after this.
Thanks so much, Alex Forbes. We'll continue to follow that throughout the day. Again, many of you calling into our newsroom, sending us emails, calling our phones here in the newsroom. They've been ringing off the hook. In fact, one lady sent us a message. She's from Jefferson, Georgia. She said that she used to live in California. She said this was a good shock for a few seconds. She said my plants and the lights all over my kitchen counter were shaking. I kind of laughed and said, this is definitely an earthquake. Again, a former California resident living in Georgia, she knew exactly what it was. We also recently just spoke to some folks in Metro Atlanta who also felt the shock. Take a listen.
As weird as it sounds, I thought I did feel something. I was up using the bathroom. I don't remember what time it was, but yeah, it was like really, like, I don't know, like just a shaking, I guess you could explain it as. Didn't even think of that. And then this happened like an hour later and I forgot about it. So I'm like, there's a lot going on today. It's a weird day in Marietta, right? Or Georgia in general, Atlanta. But yeah. So, I mean, I would just say it was just like a quick shake. I don't know, like I wouldn't say anything like I would experience it or even remember it, because honestly, like after this that was happening, everything went out the window. Because you know, when you're woken up abrupt like that, it's like, you know, it's very crazy. So. What are your thoughts about an earthquake, Georgia? I mean, I've lived in places that had one. Like I just moved here from Delaware, and they had one when I was on probably about 5-6 years ago randomly. So like in a space like this, it doesn't, I don't want to say surprise me, because weather's changing. Like look what happened in North Carolina. Like they got a huge, that bad hurricane in that valley like that. So it's just like weather is like changing in different places where you don't normally see it. Tornadoes, hurricanes, I mean earthquakes now. So
And again, we're going to continue to follow this throughout the morning. A 4.1 earthquake rattling the southeast. Again, we'll continue to follow this and keep you updated. We're going to take a quick break. Meanwhile, take us with you on the radio.
You can listen to Fox 5 Live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins and this is News Now. Again, we continue to follow that breaking news, a 4.1 earthquake. We'll get back to that, but we're also following breaking news in Henry County this morning. We want to go to our Lindsay Tuman, who's joining us now live, where there was a warehouse fire, a massive fire that even was encroaching upon a neighborhood. Lindsay.
Yes, Elizabeth, this was at a tire distribution center outside of the building in a rack of tires. So really it was a tire fire that happened at around 4 o'clock this morning over in Henry County. That's when fire investigators got the call to this facility here. When they responded, they say there was a huge amount of flames coming from those tires. Their crews immediately had to go to work working on ladder trucks to try to extinguish the flames. In the following hours after they contained the blaze, they've just been working to make sure there are no hot spots cropping up. Even firefighters had to actually switch shifts out here at around 7 this morning. The crews that had been on scene for several hours swapping out with those taking over for the remainder of the day. At this time, we still are seeing this active scene of firefighters out here continuing to contain the situation. They say that while they were able to get everything under control pretty quickly, they did face some challenges out here.
It was a considerable amount of fire. There was probably, I don't know how much was stored outside, but it looks like it was in the area of the outside tire storage. So these are going to be racks that are, you know, tens of feet tall with hundreds of tires contained and stored within.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind, again, this fire happening just in the tires. They said that it got kind of close to the building, but it didn't seem like it actually touched the building or caused much damage to it. This area is relatively industrial, but part of the area where that fire happened does back up to a neighborhood. So they did work to make sure that those flames never spread to any of the nearby houses. And thankfully, no one was injured in this either. But of course, we'll continue to stay on top of this as fire investigators continue to contain the situation and also work to learn what exactly sparked the blaze. We'll keep you updated as soon as we learn those details. But for now, that's the very latest live out here in Henry County. Elizabeth, back to you.
Thanks so much, Lindsay Tuman reporting. We continue to follow breaking news at 4.1 magnitude earthquake hitting Tennessee, rattling the southeast. Take a look. This new video just in our newsroom within the last 5 minutes. We want to show you. This is video from Renee Stuckey, who she said this is 30 seconds of video. You can see her living room shaking, or even the camera was shaking. Wild. A lot of folks calling into our newsroom this morning, letting us know that you felt it, that it definitely, is a shock to everybody, especially, in Atlanta, waking up to that rattling feeling. She was in Blairsville, so she wasn't that far. But again, this earthquake was in Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville. Again, they're reporting a 4.1 magnitude. We'll continue to follow this and keep you updated. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins and this is News Now. Take a look at this new video just into our newsroom. 4.1 earthquake rattling the southeast. Again, many of you calling into our newsroom, letting us know that you felt that earthquake. Definitely a wild start to your Saturday morning. We're going to continue to follow that, and we'll come back to that. But of course, it is Mother's Day weekend, and we want to go to our Eli Jordan, who is standing by at a florist shop. They're super busy with all the flowers. Eli.
Hey, that's right, Elizabeth. I'm down here in Hampton, Georgia. I'm at Hummingbird Flowers, and they are busy as bees down here.
Yeah.
Putting together the last-minute deliveries, the orders for Mom. They got all sorts of flowers here, and they got all sorts of extra workers here because this is one of the busiest days for all the florists here in Metro Atlanta. They're very, very busy. And the owner of Hummingbird Flowers is Pamela Duchenne.
Hi.
How you doing today, Pamela?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
How busy are
day. Busy day today. This is a day we're making at least 45% of our business for sales for the year. Between here and Valentine's Day, we're doing at least 70% of our business.
So, I mean, if somebody's watching this, say, "Oh no, I forgot it's Mother's Day," do they have time to get a?
They
flower?
still have time to get flowers. We're taking orders until we leave here today, which may be about 5 o'clock tonight.
Are deliveries happening this weekend?
Deliveries are happening today and tomorrow for Mother's Day, so place your orders, get them in. Flowers are running out.
So how busy would you say any florist in the metro area is today?
Today is the bread and butter for florists. They're making their sales quotas for the years. They're meeting all their expense demands today. It's a very busy day.
So this is kind of the Christmas of flowers.
That's the kind of Christmas of flowers.
So
everybody has a mom, so it's always the Christmas of flowers.
So what would you say if you forgot to get your mom flowers? Are you in trouble?
Well, you're not in trouble. Get them in, but you're almost in trouble. You know, moms like daisies and tulips and lilies and alstamera and carnations. We still have a few of each of these, so get your orders in.
So what would be the typical arrangement? What would you say? Roses or carnations?
No. Typically, it's a mixed arrangement of different flowers. Like I said, carnations.
All right, Eli Jordan reporting there. We'll come back to him in just a bit. Meanwhile, we continue to follow breaking news. A 4.1 magnitude earthquake hitting Tennessee, rattling the southeast. Take a look at this video. And again, 4.1 magnitude earthquake shaking the southeast. A lot of folks calling in saying that they felt it. We're going to continue our coverage, but first we're going to take a quick break. Take us with you on the radio.
You can listen to Fox 5 live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins. This is News Now. We continue to follow breaking news. A 4.1 earthquake. Alex Forbes is standing by. Alex, a lot of folks are wondering, are there going to be more?
Yeah, Elizabeth, it's a good question, and it's a fair question to ask when we see something as rare as what we are seeing this morning, or should I say saw this morning at 9:04 Eastern. A magnitude 4.1 earthquake struck just south of Knoxville by about 30 miles, about 125 miles northeast of the city of Atlanta. And of course, we felt that here in North Georgia. We felt it on the north side of the metro. We've even seen reports as far south as Peachtree City. In terms of any more happening, of course, aftershocks are always possible, but it's not a guarantee that you would even feel the aftershock if it were to happen, right? 4.1 means it was just high enough on the scale to feel it as far south as the metro. Say you get a magnitude 2.0 as an aftershock. Well, you're barely going to feel that up in the mountains, and you're certainly not going to feel that here in the metro area. So here's some more details on it. It was centered near Tallahassee, Tennessee, about 30 miles south of Knoxville, as we were mentioning there. You might have seen 3.5 floating around earlier this morning. It was initially reported as a 3.5 and then upgraded to a 4.1 after. Now, this is the shake map according to the United States Geological Survey. You see the most intense shaking would be, well, first and foremost, inside that yellow line right there. But in terms of some serious ground movement, it would be this outer blue line, which notice it stops just short of Chattanooga. It does include places like Fannin County, Union County, Towns County. We've been looking at that video out of Blairsville. That's the kind of shaking that it was moving some ground. But then once you find your way all the way down into the north side of the metro, this blue line right here, that's when you're going to hear it and feel it only at a, I don't want to say minimal, right? Because it's not minimal, but at a much less extent than what was felt up in North Georgia. Now, as I mentioned, we got reports as far south as Peachtree City. So, of course, it made it south of the metro area as well. That was this morning's earthquake. Of course, we've got other things going on in the weather world as well. Mother's Day weekend. Not exactly a nice one. Temperatures in the 60s and 50s today with plenty of rain to go around. Something similar for tomorrow. I'm not saying to cancel plans, right? But I would have backups in mind because we will be seeing waves upon waves of rain this weekend. Let's talk about it hour by hour today. See our temperatures stuck in the 50s here for the next little bit, and we have a decent chance of rain around as we're talking, and we have got this easterly breeze. So look, even when it's not raining, that easterly breeze is keeping this wedge-like pattern in place. So we're looking at the low cloud cover, some gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour, and the cool temperatures through the afternoon. I think all the storm activity stays south and east of the city today. By the time we get into tomorrow, this is Mother's Day morning now, looking for scattered showers in and around north and central Georgia. And those will become a little more prevalent through the day, especially as we get into the afternoon and evening. Again, not a washout, but I would have backup plans in mind if you have any outdoor plans for Mother's Day. And then that takes us into Monday. Notice we have storms here across the metro area by the time we get to Monday morning. I'm going to talk more about those here in just a moment. First, I want to get through today's wind. Notice, 25, 30 miles an hour out of the east going to be possible. These are wind gusts now. And play this forward into the evening hours. Notice the wind does not go away entirely like it sometimes does through the overnight. On into tomorrow, we would be looking at somewhat of a similar wind, I don't want to say threat, but wind gusts, similar wind gusts to what we're going to see today across the area. Okay, this is the Fox model now, and let's talk about Monday morning. Looking at scattered storms in and around north and central Georgia, and then those will begin to push off towards the north and east. I'm going to be watching the intensity of these pretty closely, and then I'm also going to be watching for whatever develops during the afternoon and evening hours. The reason why is because the Storm Prediction Center put out something this morning, and I agree with this mostly, saying that the environment would be favorable for potentially some of those storms to become supercells. One of the reasons being we have a big swirling area of low pressure just off to our west. So it's a conditional risk, and the condition is we need all of the exact ingredients to be in place perfectly for this to happen. But if that does happen, we would be running into the risk of some damaging winds, maybe even a couple spin-up tornadoes and some small hail Monday afternoon and evening. A couple days out, we've got time to watch it. That's the good news in this. I'm going to be watching each of the model runs closely to see how all this shakes out. The other thing that is somewhat needed across North Georgia is rain, and yeah, we're going to have the opportunity to pick up a decent amount of it. Anytime you get into these deeper reds and then oranges, that's when you get to 3 to 5 inches, and that's the possibility we are going to have across particularly central Georgia, but then also northern Georgia. I mean, look, that's 1.5, 2 inches of rain, and we are down on the year 2025, so we will take the rain where we can get it. Now, add it all up, get your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. 100% chance of rain today. That temperature is 66 this morning is falling. We're not going to necessarily warm through the afternoon. An 80% chance of rain tomorrow before we're watching the storm risk on Monday, 76 on Tuesday. And then Elizabeth, we turn this whole thing around for the end of the week. Not only do we get the cool weather out of here and get close to 90, but the rain and the storms, they will move out as well. I think we've got 2 seasons in the same week, which is a little interesting. One thing that's not on the forecast here is earthquakes. The reason being, can't exactly predict them. I know that a lot of scientists out in places like California and Washington State are working on that, and even then, the best they can do is like 10 seconds, 15 seconds out in terms of predicting them.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Alex Forbes. And again, like you said, we're going to continue to follow this 4.1 magnitude earthquake. We've got this new video. Take a look. Video there. Again, we're going to continue to follow this and keep you updated. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.